Anyway, this is part 2 of 92, and we were talking about rehab, and that a lot of them are 28 days or what have you, and who can benefit from this. As I said, I think the person who is most likely to benefit is, number one, someone who this is their first time, and it's their first time that they have admitted to themselves and recognized that, and we're using booze as an example, you could insert anything, crack, cocaine, heroin, whatever you want to put in there, that they're having some problems, and they want to make some changes. It gives them a chance to get off the streets, get the booze out of them, and it gives them 28 days or whatever to sit back and think about things and try to get things in what most of us would call a proper perspective. So from that standpoint, I think rehab would be good. But all this bailing out, so to speak, every time something happens, oh, I'm going to rehab. And really, it would seem that what these people are doing is they're almost saying, what I've done just before I'm hitting rehab is okay because, gosh, I have this real problem that I can't control, blah, 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 blah. So it's almost like they want to pass. In other words, I'll beat my wife, I'll kick my dog, I'll wreck my car, I'll get a DUI, I'm going to rehab. So that's supposed to wash all of that. We're all supposed to forget about that. Like Charlie Sheen, I don't know why he's in rehab. But in other words, you take the guy who's like, wrecked his car, has a DUI, kicked his dog, beat his wife and all that. Then it would be, oh, poor George is in rehab, he's in rehab. And, I sort of get a pass, so to speak, on this other stuff because I have this serious disease I'm trying to deal with in rehab. Yeah, when I get, serious disease. But anyway, that's a whole other topic, the disease behavior thing. But anyway, I guess I've gone on and on enough about this. But if you are loved ones, friends, whatever, thinking about going to rehab, try and go in with your eyes open. Number one, it's not going to fix you. I often give the example that if I were to break my arm, I can go to any local emergency room. If I need surgery, like pens or something like that, they'll admit me to the hospital, they'll put some pens in and things like that. And then a couple of days later, I'm out of the hospital. Excuse me. And once all the wounds healed or heal or whatever, hey, I'm fixed, man. Now, years and years and years ago, before I knew anything about psychiatric hospitals, and I don't know a lot now, psychiatric hospitals and rehab centers and all that other junk, it was just like you wandering around. If someone had come to me and said, hey, what would you do if you were depressed? I would say, knowing nothing obviously, oh gosh, I'll go to a psychiatric hospital. And in my mind, back 20, 30 years ago, I would assume that I, could go in there and they would fix me just like they would fix my broken arm. Well, folks, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. You don't go there to get fixed, so to speak. And that doesn't mean that these places aren't beneficial. I'm not saying that. In other words, I'm not saying they are of no value. What I'm saying is that, I think there's a time that it might be warranted that a person goes to a rehab center, and that's maybe the first time they trying to come to grips with all of this stuff, and to get off the street. Now, of course, some people would contradict me, I'm sure, and they would say, oh gosh, this is a disease, sometimes you have to go back, to get more treatment, blah blah blah. Well, I don't even want to argue that point now. But the point is, I think it gets tiresome for most of us. We down here at the lower part of the food chain who are out there working every day, when we hear about all these so-called celebrities bailing out to rehab, and folks, that's what they're doing. They're getting this wash, and especially the high-profile ones, like who get caught, with crack and cocaine or whatever, and immediately boom, man, they're in the old rehab place. There was one young actress, was it Lindsay Lohan? I get all those people mixed up. Britney Spears, I don't know, one of those people. Gosh, I mean, it was almost like this revolving door kind of thing, you know. It seemed like every other day she was rushing off to rehab and then rushing out of rehab, and people rushing in, rushing out. So anyway, I guess I babbled on far too long about rehab. But anyway, what else can I say, folks? Anyway, as Pat Condell would say, peace, folks, peace. And if you're out there having a problem with booze, well, I don't know. Maybe rehab would be good for you. You guys take care. Bye.